over again.
Well, we've got an amazing storyline. Oh, the webs we weave for you. Not only with this game, but the rest of the day.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. We're going to see the first top four seeds for the first time. Does that pay a dividend for them? Then the double bye. And also two teams left standing from Tuesday.
Yep.
And BC and Notre Dame is the third game in a row. Get to them.
Let's take a look at the Food Lion starting lineups. And you see King, Snyder, Adele, Spalding, Mahmoud. They've worked up a lather on this floor. Hall, Guy, of course, who made first team All-ACC, along with Jerome, Wilkins, and Salt, the starting five for Virginia. But oh boy, what a magnificent setting we have for you here. And without question, Jason Capel, this is going to be fun to watch, specifically with some individual players worth watching.
Well, Tim, true adversity is shown through the character you bring out when that adversity sets in. And the Louisville Cardinals did an excellent job bouncing back yesterday with a big win over Florida State. And I was told by senior Quentin Snyder as well as junior Ray Spalding that these guys were waiting for this game. They wanted this game for an opportunity to avenge that heartbreaking loss.
And the opening tip off the beautiful skyline of the top of this Barclays Arena goes to Virginia. Ted Valentine, Jamie Lucky, and Tim Comer, our officials for today's game. Jerome with a runner.
Well, great start. And I love watching Virginia play. There's a reason why they're the #1 team, not only in seed, but in the country, and they're so connected on both ends of the floor. Really a joy to watch them play.
Mahmoud, who's so adept at coming out and facing up, stretching out the low post players for the opposition. Shot clock down to 5. King knocks it down. He gets a triple.
Yeah, and this is, we're going to see both ends of the floor, and Virginia will guard you for 30 seconds, and then they'll run their offense as well. So tempo is going to be a big key, and let's keep an eye on Spalding. Back tightened up a little bit last night. Let's see if he can get a little loose.
And talking with Tony Bennett, and this was true before the last game, as you see a beautiful feed to Isaiah Wilkins. It is the length of this Louisville team, Adele, Mahmoud, Spalding, that really are a problem for Virginia. That pack line can be met with that length and athleticism from Louisville in manners that other ACC teams cannot.
Well, Tim, this is a team in Louisville that they went to Virginia, even in the loss. They shot 50% against this team. Not many teams do that.
What a remarkable run for Virginia in this ACC tournament. He got his second title in 14 of 76, of course. Wonderful Wally Walker led the way.
That was a miracle at Landover.
Yeah.
So, terrific tournament memories there.
That Virginia team that won it all in 14, another veteran team during that period when 6 consecutive different teams won the ACC championship.
It was and the game up at Charlottesville between these two was relatively close as well. So Louisville should be confident in this ball game.
Yeah, and they're feeling some revenge is in store. That the basketball gods, like Dang Adele, who did run the baseline, should see an iron kind today.
Wow, that was an iron assist right there. The ball just fell in like a sack of sand.
A little bit like those 10-footers that fall for Jordan Spieth. The gods know who putted, and they know who takes the shot.
Never happens to me.
Shot clock down to 5. Not uncommon for a Virginia sequence. That one goes off the front iron for Wilkins.
It's a defensive rebounding. It's really going to be a key for Louisville because you don't want to give Virginia multiple possessions where you have to guard for 40 or even 60 seconds.
Adele. Off the heel this time, pulled down by Devin Hall. You're looking at a complimentary player who does a little bit of everything for Virginia. I know you believe he should have been first team All-ACC.
I think he does a lot of everything for Virginia, and the case could be made. You should have taken one spot and put all 5 of these guys in the one spot on that first team.
There he is, right on cue with a 3-ball.
Yeah, 45% from 3, 90% from the line, 45% overall. Just a terrific offensive player.
He embodies the efficiency as an individual of Virginia as a team. King again.
He's the guy I think he's going to be important, his offense today. And I think Dwayne Sutton coming off the bench is going to be a big key for Louisville as well. If they can get King going, that's going to be a big lift and take a lot of load off of Snyder and Adele.
You'll remember that game at the Yum Center. Louisville got the lead early, out pack line, and then all of a sudden Virginia came back in incredible circumstances at the end. All that had to take place for Louisville to eke out a victory and finish the year at 17-1 in conference play. They had this league wrapped up in February. Snyder opening for Mahmoud.
Yeah, but you know what, Tim, the thing about Virginia, they got a great pass over the top that time. Virginia didn't care that they had it wrapped up. They played it as if they were, that was the first game of the league. I mean, they're so conditioned to play the way they do.
Yeah, I thought that was the most impressive aspect of the victory against Louisville because they really didn't need it. They were going to be a #1 seed this week and next week, no matter what. Early on, ooping, that length, that athleticism. Mahmoud drops it through.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Geico, saving people money for over 75 years. By Gatorade, win from within. By your Carolina Ford dealers. By Bojangles, it's bow time. And by New York Life. Start a plan that flexes with yours.
So the scenery yesterday, not at all like today. It's 11-7 though. Both teams scorching the nets early. The under-16 timeout. You look at David Padgett, and let's get our Carolina Ford keys to the game, G-Man.
Well, you take a look at Louisville. It's play with poise, and especially you got to be disciplined on offense because they're going to be the same on defense. And for Virginia, it's like Woody Durham said, you go where you go and you do what you do. You don't disrespect any opponent, but they are more concerned about what they're doing on either end of the floor.
Just like the T-shirt we got from Wes, right? Right off of the foundation of the late, great Woody Durham. 11-7 our score. Jason Capel was in the Louisville huddle.
Tim, Coach Padgett talked to his team about keeping great spacing on the offensive end and switching up their ability to set ball screens. Sometimes set it, other times slipping, trying to keep Virginia on their toes on the defensive end. Tim?
Out of bounds, it'll be controlled underneath.
And I think one area that Virginia could be vulnerable is to a hot three-point shooting team. And so far, Louisville has started that way. Three of their four made field goals are threes.
B.J. King with two of them. Jerome and Guy sometimes will just will Virginia's way to a bucket late in the clock. This guy's pretty good, too. Devin Hall knows how to get it done.
They ran their offense, got things spread out, and basically gave him the middle of the floor to go off the dribble.
Darius Perry's coming to the game out of the timeout. Nice work defensively by Virginia. Jerome drops it off to Guy. He wasn't quite prepared, couldn't get the handle. And
he surprised him. I think he felt like he was going to take the shot and not pass it off. And Guy's knee feeling much better, had a good week of practice, so that not an issue for Virginia.
They really do share quite a bit. And I think you're right. Kyle was not prepared for Jerome dropping that off to the trail man. There's a dump down. Diakite. Fall-away shot. Good defense that time from Louisville.
Yeah, Spalding, again, you talked about their length, Tim, works at both ends of the floor, and he forced him to take a fadeaway jump shot.
Amazing to think that it was Diakite's lane violation that enabled the opportunity for Virginia to win. One of the most memorable moments of this college basketball season. A mistake that leads to a W. And that's a walk against Dwayne Sutton. 3 turnovers now committed for David Padgett's team. I think this is such an opportunity for this young coach who's done a marvelous job to make sure that this team is not defined by what happened on that senior night game in Louisville.
Dave Padgett's whole focus coming into this year was, with all the things that happened with Rick Pitino beforehand, and he just wanted to make this year enjoyable and manageable for this ball club, and I think mission accomplished on that point.
No doubt about it. Jerome, yes, and one. That's what I'm talking about, and willing your way to a basket. Generally, it's late in the clock, not so much this time.
Well, he gets a fresh screen and enough of an opportunity to get in and finish. But that's, again, the discipline. There are going to be a lot of ball screens. There are going to be a lot of screens away from the ball.
Like, I love your line about Virginia. So many that don't like their style of play in today's society. You simply say, if you don't appreciate Virginia, you don't really understand basketball.
Yeah, and Tony Bennett talks about he's got pillars that they built on, and one of them is servants and service. And he said you can be an all-star as a servant. You don't have to be a star, a star to be there.
Shot clock under 5. Got to go up. Beautifully done. And again, that's Louisville understanding Ray Spalding using the glass. You're going to have to play Virginia's way to beat them. It's that simple.
And they don't beat themselves. They don't turn the ball over. I've been watching Spalding a little bit, talking about his back, and he looks like he's moving a little stiffly, but still playing well.
Tap out. Virginia's so good at that. Diakite with a nice job of tapping that one out for the recycle.
Wow, this is what you do. All of a sudden now you got to play extended seconds against that defense.
And Hall drains another tray. He's got 8 of their 15, and they lead by a deuce. Perry. Hall the rebound. Quick outlet. On occasion, Virginia will try to get their transition game going. Nigel Johnson held it up. Oh, Diakite with a full flush off the offensive boards and a timeout, Louisville.
This was great transition defense by Louisville. Get back, but then this guy, Devin Hall, is just started out and lifted up. They were a little slow, but they're getting back in this ball game, and then the flush at the finish.
It's the 2018 New York Life ACC Tournament in Brooklyn. And what a performance early on from Devin Hall, the do-everything combo guard for Virginia.
Well, I talked about his shooting numbers are off the charts, and he's gotten off quickly, showing the ability to score at 3 different levels. He can take it inside. He's got a mid-range game, and also knocking down 2 threes here early.
Look at those numbers, 3 out of 4, and he's done it both driving to the basket and from the perimeter. And Virginia in the middle of a 10-2 run in the last 3.5 minutes.
Well, I think the big thing, Tim, is because of offensive rebounds and turnovers, 6 more field goal attempts for Virginia than Louisville. That's not going to get it done over 40 minutes.
Jason was in the Virginia huddle.
With Tim, it was all about defense, as you could imagine. Talking about being there, not allowing middle drives, but also contesting every shot, forcing contested threes and contested jump shots, but also continue to dominate the backboard. The Cardinals with 0 offensive rebounds so far.
That was a really smooth move by Ray Spalding, was it not? A little ball fake, duck under move to use the window.
And you get McMahon in the game for the first time for Louisville, trying to get some offense, but Dave Padgett was not happy with his team at that timeout.
No. And there's Kyle Guy knocking home his first 3 ball, and it's 20-15. McMahon, by the way, you mentioned him on the floor, the youngster from Sarasota. He only had 1 bucket yesterday, but it was huge. It came at the buzzer at the end of the first half.
Yep.
And lit up the Cardinals at a time when they really needed it. That one doesn't fall, and it's pulled down by Diakite.
Well, I think to hang with this team, they're going to need a few more than 1 from him in this game.
Nigel Johnson being checked by Quentin Snyder. Diakite. Ooh, that line drive jump hook of his. And the largest lead of the day, 22-15.
Because of that perimeter and the spacing, tough to get a double team down there in time.
Mahmoud, he's fouled. Well, it looks like Mahmoud is available, and Spalding too, every time down the floor.
Here's the look, and I mean, it's, you know, for Adele, that's about as well as you can play that. You pump them out, you make a guy take a long jump hook, but you know, just trumped him with better offense.
Diakite picked up the foul on this end of the floor, and that brings Anas Mahmoud to the line. That one just drew iron. Young man from Cairo, Egypt. And some substitutions here for Virginia. Jerome Guy back on the floor along with DeAndre Hunter, who I think without question Tony Bennett would be the first to admit, as he goes, so goes Virginia in the postseason. He's an athletic player that can do a lot with the ball in his hands, and of course was the hero in the game at Louisville. And that's an offensive foul on Johnson.
Yeah, McMahon, nice job of guessing correctly. Johnson a little out of control on the dribble, but the thing about Hunter too, Tim, they can plug him in a few different places defensively. You can go 2 through 4. Yeah, just I mean, it's, you know, those are the calls that are easiest for the referees to make, because they're right out front. And then every ref will tell you it's much more difficult to referee in the paint than it is out on the perimeter.
King not there, and it's pulled down by Wilkins. So Hunter's on the floor now with Wilkins, Johnson, Guy, and Jerome.
You know, it's ironic about Hunter. He didn't have a great game in that game. He only hit 2 shots.
He was 1 of 6 before he put
then he hit that game winner.
Amazing. Yeah, Louisville had done the job on him. Jerome, the sweeping hook that doesn't fall, and it's run down by Anas Mahmoud. 22-16 our score. 8 and change remaining in the opening half. The first of our quarterfinal games this Thursday on the ACC Network.
Well, great matchup with Wilkins and Spalding, too. Such a great defensive player.
That one's knocked away, but he controlled to Louisville with 14 to shoot.
You know, Isaiah Wilkins a little undersized at his position. You can see the difference between him and Spalding, but he's still able to handle guys who are 2-3 inches taller than he is.
Devin Hall comes back onto the floor, replacing Johnson. This is what Mahmoud can do. Can take you outside and then drive as a big man. Did not get that one to fall, and here comes Guy the other way.
See, I mean, and Jason talked about the no offensive rebound, but it's clear that Louisville is really concerned about the transition defense. They're not sending many bodies for a second opportunity.
Off the curl, Guy knocks it home. He's got 5, and it's 24-16.
You know, I thought he was a little bit of a loose cannon last year, Tim, but he has really settled down in his sophomore year and bought into every part of this system.
On the wing, does not go. Great block out by Hunter. A little bit of a danger zone here for Louisville. They don't want to get behind by double digits to this Virginia team. As hard as it is for Virginia to come back, it's really difficult for you to come back down 12 or 13 against this group. There's a rejection by Mahmoud, and they'll come back the other way.
Well, and that's what happens. You start playing faster.
Oh, almost a majestic play. Fans wanted a whistle. Great defensive work by Wilkins.
Yeah, that was just running stride for stride with a taller Spalding getting a hand on it. I thought that was a risky pass.
Hunter pulls up, wave it off. Wave it off, foul on the floor, says Tim Comer. And we've got a timeout. 7:09 remaining. That foul goes on Spalding for Louisville. The lead is 8 for UVA. Here's our first Citizens Bank Forever First moment. Virginia's first ACC tournament title in 1976. The 6th-seeded Cavs beat the number 3 and 2 seeds on the way to defeating number 1 seed North Carolina in the finals. Wonderful Wally Walker was the Everett Case Award winner as tournament MVP. Terry Holland, the head coach. Also the first ACC tournament outside the state of North Carolina. The Landover Miracle reigns.
And that's not a bad North Carolina team.
No.
Phil Ford, Walter Davis, Mitch Kupchak on that team. A huge win for Terry Holland.
And in 75, wasn't Dan Bonner holding up Walker? I think he was. Let's talk about this Cavalier defense.
You look at the numbers, Tim. It's interesting to go back to Tony Bennett's first 2 years.
Yep.
They were in like the 40s and the 50s. It took them a couple of years to get the players to play into the system, but since that time, I mean, you know, your worst year was second in the NCAA.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing what he has done. Speaking of our old friend, the tall Virginian, Dan Bonner will be working with West Durham tonight. Guy drains one. Boy, the net barely moved there. He is on point today. He's got 8. The lead now is at double digits. Louisville now needs a bucket. We mentioned the danger zone was approaching, and they're in it right now. That's a big bucket right there for Dang Adele.
Yeah, good answer, Hall, giving him a little bit of space that time. And again, he's got some length to get that jump shot up over him.
Virginia was not nearly as warm from the perimeter in the game at the Yum Center last week as they are right now. All their big guns from downtown are knocking down shots. Paul and Guy particularly.
And that is a wide body and Jack Salt setting screens.
Wilkins gets inside the painted area. He's got 4. He's one of the servants, as Tony Bennett, as you mentioned a moment ago, calls.
Amazing, the offense you get from him as a bonus is averaging 6 points a game, but amazing that he can have such an impact on the game with not scoring double figures.
Look how late Louisville is in initiating any kind of offense. Spread out. There's a drive by Adele, and it's knocked away. Very difficult to get anything done against that pack line.
Yeah, you see him right up the middle. He's going to come up here. Things will open up for him. Get that screen, and just, when you're a right-handed player and you can swing off that way, it really helps your rhythm. Tough to come back over the other shoulder.
Mahmoud trying to use all that length possible against Salt, but to no avail. It'll go the other way. The lead is 10, 5.5 to play. Boston College and Clemson coming up later. They are the story, the BC Eagles, of this tournament right now.
Staying at our hotel. I know the hotel's happy.
Yeah.
I saw Jim Christian last night. I said, "You bring enough suits?" And he said, "If I have to, I'll wear the same one."
Well, the old Al McGuire, rather than bring 2 pairs of khakis and your blue jacket given to you by the company you're working for. Guy, everything but the finish. Wilkins trying to save it, and Guy does to Hall. What work ethic. What work ethic. Salt gets it in.
Well, getting to the 50-50 balls. I mean, this is how they track you down. If you make them miss, Tim, you've got to come up with that ball somehow because they make you pay a second time.
That was Virginia at its finest right there. Snyder for 3. Mahmoud trying to keep it alive, but it's ripped down by Ty Jerome.
And that's Snyder's first field goal attempt of the game, Tim, and there's only 4 minutes left in the half. He has got to be more aggressive. Actually, second field goal attempt. Still, no points from him. They can't survive that either.
Jerome, a pull-up. Boy, any question that maybe Virginia would not be lathered up and into this thing, you can forget about that. They rise to their feet. How good was this, Mike?
Well, this is just pure outright hustle right here. Tracking it down, the save, the quick turnaround, and then being unselfish inside. Team basketball.
You're watching the ACC Network. It's an exclusive production of Raycom Sports, also streaming live now on the ACC.com and on the official ACC mobile app. And a look at the Honda dealers of the Carolinas top 25. And, of course, the Tar Heels were in great shape last night, improving upon their record against Syracuse. Miami and Clemson, we'll be seeing them a little bit later today.
Yeah, that's it's going to be a long day for the Tar Heels, although, they'll like the rest, but playing at 9:30 tonight.
Yeah, let's take a look at our Lending Tree fast analysis, G-Man. Those points in the paint are mounting, and the bench points are going the way of Virginia as well.
Yeah, second chance points off turnovers, it's 12-0 right now. So that's a big part of the difference in the game.
Cards came out of the gates quickly, but are just 3 of their last 14 from the floor. That 10-2 spurt that Louisville got about 5 minutes ago has really created some space, and now they lead by 14. Louisville's got to make up some ground between now and the intermission.
But look at the dig in that they give from Hunter, and it makes Spalding turn the other way. You know, and just that is the help that drives you crazy if you're playing against Virginia. There seems to be always another half a body that you have to play against.
And the mental aspect too, when you're playing against them, is so incredible. No doubt about it, right, Jason?
Absolutely, and you look at the Louisville defense right now, they turn to their matchup zone. Why? Because they cannot get through the screening action of Virginia. The down screens are leading to wide open jump shots or curls that put the defense in rotation, and they also have to rebound the basketball because Kyle Guy is on fire here in this first half.
Yeah, and you know, when you're down 17 against Virginia, it feels like 30.
Well, and Tim, I mean, if Virginia, if they're going to score 40 and a half, and it's almost impossible to beat them.
Wow, a missed layup, but Sutton stayed with it, got the putback, padded his stats there with an offensive rebound, and the lead is down to 15.
And that's it's only the third offensive rebound of the game, of the first half for Louisville.
These next 2:30. Really important to Louisville. They need to have something good happen between now and the break, because this team knows how to finish. Hunter!
To Jason's point, playing against that zone, Hunter is the perfect guy to put in the middle of it to break it down. He can make a play, and he can also score.
Adele, a runner, not there. Salt retrieves it off the deck. Virginia's blockout capability, whether it's Salt, Wilkins, Hunter, just tremendous. Very rarely do you get a second chance opportunity against them. Salt's like a one-man blockade.
Well, he's just kind of lurking behind in that zone. Was out of rebounding position that time.
Snyder's got to get going. We haven't heard him nearly enough. Sutton. He drops one through. That's a big bucket, 38-24.
Yeah, they just want to, kind of reel this one back in to the extent that they can. But like you said, 17 or now a 14-point deficit.
It feels like double that. Yeah. It does. When you play Virginia, you know you're not going to get nearly as many possessions. It's that simple. Hunter. Ooh, the iron unkind, and Salt with an over the back that you rarely see. And it'll go the other way. Well, the ACC mobile app is free and covers all 15 teams in every ACC sport. And right now, users have a chance to win Outback for a year. Look for a banner in the app for your chance to enter and win. More details are available at the acc.com/mobile app.
And that was a terrific job of Spalding defending on that play against Hunter.
Virginia foul number 33.
Foul went against Jack Salt.
This is the other thing, we rave about Virginia's defense, Tim. One of the big things, they do it without fouling. I mean, they're not even close to being in the penalty right now.
A couple of fouls, just amazing.
Now, Louisville is in the same position, but Virginia's taking advantage of it and scoring the ball.
This kid needs to have something good happen right away. Here's Snyder. He knows it. He's rejected. Tried to call his own number there. We got a tie ball. The arrow is to Louisville. You can almost feel Quentin Snyder. And let's face it was his senior night that got spoiled. The possession arrow is to Louisville.
But here's the look. I mean, Wilkins doesn't look like a shot blocker, but they always had, and Snyder, I bet you, he looked like he's, all right, I got an open lane. I can finally get a layup. And then inside, out of nowhere comes a block shot.
Guys all over Snyder. Defensive work being done on number 4. has been outstanding. Well, coming up on the Hardy's Halftime Report, we'll get you set for the rest of the day. Previews of the next 3 quarterfinal games. Tom Werme, Corey Alexander, hard at work all day and all evening long. All that plus highlights and stats on the Hardy's Halftime Report.
Yeah, we get a break, but those two do a tremendous job from noon till midnight.
Adele. That's very important to get some points and maybe carve into this lead before halftime.
Now they need to stop. And this is probably you got some time to get down the other end of the floor, but they really need to stop to make that jump shot hold up. Oh no, that looked like a double dribble, pretty close.
Adele forced it. Hall a runner. Not there. Hunter tries to keep it alive, and a foul spotted underneath by Jamie Lucky. It'll go against UVA, I think.
Yeah, but they're still not in the penalty.
Hunter, I think, the guilty party.
Plenty of time, though, Tim. 10.7 seconds to get the ball up the floor and get a shot. Look for a high ball screen.
A little surprised they didn't bring McMahon in for the final play as they did yesterday against Florida State. Looking to dial it up. Adele is a good idea.
No, offensive foul.
Offensive foul. Wow.
Yeah, he just slapped Jerome right in the face.
Yep. That's 2. That's the first foul on Dang Adele. And now Virginia will have an opportunity with a timeout.
And that weave was not run very well up front by Louisville, and it results in a foul. Plus, it gives Virginia enough time to score. Yeah, I mean, Kyle Guy was, you could have picked 4 or 5 guys to be first team. He was named it, but double figures already for him, Tim. 4 of 8 shooting, pardon me, but he is perfect from behind the arc and then making the hustle play that makes this play happen.
Yeah, and he's been bothered, too, by a knee injury to his left knee. He's had a sprained MCL, and he claimed, he said, after the game, he said, coming in here, it hurts like hell, and I should go on, but I'm going to go on because we have to play with pain this time of year. That's really the kind of grit, Jason.
But he had a good practice.
Oh,
I talked to the coaching staff. Yeah. He's fine.
But Jason, he has to play with pain. A lot of these guys do this time of year.
Well, it's that time of year, Tim. You're not feeling any pain. You're excited for March Madness and the opportunity to lead your team. And Kyle Guy is playing for the #1 team in the country. He's not going to miss out on this opportunity, having a breakout sophomore campaign. G-Man, you said it, playing much more composed in his second season.
And a reach-in foul there.
Well, they had one to give, so still, that was not a bad. That was a smart foul.
Foul goes against Noir. Just into the game. Defensive purposes. Forget Boston College and Clemson coming up. Jerome at the buzzer.
Yeah, that's the inbounder, the most dangerous guy. You got a decent look at it.
Well, the Ville did score, G-Man, their last 6 points of the half. But there is the key stat. 48% from the floor for Virginia. The lead is 11 at the break. The Hardy's Halftime Report is on the other side with Tom Werme and Corey Alexander. Quarterfinal Thursday of the New York Life ACC Tournament.
Basketball is being brought to you by Food Lion, raising standards without raising prices. How refreshing. By Geico, saving people money for over 75 years. By your local Chevy dealers. By CPI Security. And by Lending Tree. When banks compete, you win. ACC Basketball is being brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. By Hardee's. By Progressive Insurance. By First Citizens Bank. And by Mellow Mushroom, out of this world pizza.
The sun is out, but remnants of yesterday's snow is with us here at the Barclays Center in the borough of Brooklyn. A along with the G-Man, Mike Jaminski, Tim Brando. And I would suggest that Louisville needs to think a little bit more about that. They should have cinched an NCAA tournament bid with that win over Florida State. Should be more loose right now and play that way in the second half offensively.
Well, and it's, you know, they got to get a couple guys going. I've been looking at Spalding. He's not himself today, and that's a big setback. They've locked in on Quinn Snyder. They've got to find ways to get him jump shots. I think the first 4 or 5 minutes will be critical in the second half.
No doubt about that, as were the last minute and a half, 2 minutes of the first half. Jason Capel, what about the adjustments Louisville might be able to make here?
Well, the Cardinals are looking to do 2 specific things. They must change up their defense. You cannot give the Cavaliers a steady diet. Look for some zone as well as man-to-man. And also on the offensive end, G-Man, you said it, get Ray Spalding involved early. They have to get post touches, and the big fella, look for him to be more aggressive attacking the rim here in the final 20.
Well, no doubt about that. Spalding and company. You mentioned a moment ago, G, that he's not maybe at 100%, but Mahmoud can play at a higher level. And getting Quentin Snyder going is, I think, going to be essential for Louisville to make a move. Our innovative play is brought to you by Progressive Insurance, your first-round draft pick for car insurance, G-Man.
Right, and you look at it, you talk about being unselfish, and how they screen for a guy to get him open. He's going to get a couple along the baseline, gets the curl. Kind of a half show by Louisville right there, and you give him that kind of space in rhythm, he's going to knock it down.
Ty Jerome and Guy have really been dictating pace of play, and as Corey mentioned at halftime with Tom Wormy, if you're knocking down shots from the perimeter, and then you're able to also get shots inside that arc, and Virginia's done both. This is a really tough cover for anybody, including Louisville today.
And the hard thing for Louisville is that they haven't had many, break opportunities, no fast break points, but that's a tough thing to do against Virginia.
Right away, Wilkins gets one, and Ted Valentine has a foul to go with it. So the hoop with the harm, Spalding gets his second foul.
Yeah, it was just an underrated shot. He's just, he really wants to turn over that left shoulder, and somehow you've got to make him, play behind him, not give him that space, but no double team help coming because of the perimeter offense they have.
Padgett did not like that foul call from Ted Valentine and let him know. (41-27), a three-point play to open for the Cavaliers. Trying to play a little high-low between Spalding and Mahmoud. King hit 2 quick threes to open the game and was silenced afterwards. Here's the guy they need to get going. Snyder.
Boy, I just watched that whole possession basically focusing on them, and Kyle Guy was just dialed right in on Snyder, not giving him a look. He was in help position.
Yeah, Padgett let Tim Comer know he felt that he was on his arm, too. Ball movement to Guy. Not there. Salt had it, but lost it out of bounds. Now, Virginia, I believe, wanted to send a message that number 1 was ready to go. There would be no need for anyone to think that it would take a while for them to get lathered up for the postseason.
It was just, playing the one game yesterday. It's clear the benefit of the double bye that those 4 teams play for.
Nice work inside between Mahmoud and Spalding, and a foul, the end result underneath. Good passing there in the interior for Louisville. Jerome gets the foul.
Those two work pretty well, and that's, it's a good look. It's usually Mahmoud that's up top, but he's long enough that he can see over the top and make that type of play.
(41-29), 6 in the game for Spalding.
First kind of pressure we've seen up the floor for Louisville. It was more of kind of a fake press to take time off the clock, but that really doesn't bother Virginia a whole lot. They're used to working late into the shot clock.
So many guys have a quality handle on the floor for them. Salt, perhaps the only one that can't put it on the deck. Spalding had it, lost it. Wilkins reached in, but last to touch it, and it'll go over to Louisville. So a third turnover committed by Virginia. That's rare.
He wants Spalding wanted a foul on that play. Probably have a good argument for it too. Again, against Paget, you got to be a little bit patient. And we may see. In order to get that defense set, they're going to have to have to connect offensively.
Well, nice idea to get it to that guy. Spalding has been money when he's gotten the ball in a position to score. The lead down to 10. It stretched out to 16 at one point in the first half for Virginia.
Back to changing defenses and playing some zone now.
David Paget, as a young coach, given an opportunity, but at a time when no other coach, especially one that young, has ever had to take over. Here's Hall, and Devin Hall's dribble drive power game leads to a bucket. He's got 10.
Yeah, I mean, they've got, and the good thing too is they got not only unselfish, but guys off the dribble at the end of the shot clock who can make plays, and he went at one of the best shot blockers in the league and made it look easy.
King fouled by Jerome again as he took it right at him, and Jerome picks up a second foul.
Here it is. It's about 7 on the clock, and Adele, playing him to go that other way, but he's got the ability to score with his left hand, and go right, go left.
VJ King is one of those guys. He might get you 4 like he did yesterday against Florida State, be a complimentary guy, and then come back at you the next day and get a career-high 24. He had double-figure scoring games 12 times this season, including 17 twice, a career-high 24 in that game at Virginia last year. So he has had breakout moments. He's got 8 today. And a reminder, Boston College and Clemson coming up next. One of the most improved teams in the country, the Clemson Tigers of Brad Brownell.
Yeah, we talked about BC. Does that third game in 3 days catch up with them? 1 or 2 left from Tuesday.
Let me tell you, they're impressed that they've locked up an NIT and probably a high seed in the NIT. They would likely get some home court opportunities if they're in that tournament. Wilkins can't get it to go up against the clock, and a chance for Louisville to carve it down to single digits. Snyder for 3. Look out. Yeah, get him warmed up, and all of a sudden this game could change in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no, that's all it takes is a shot like that, and that was under pressure too. That was not an easy look, and he had to shoot it from range.
Mark down when that first basket for Quentin Snyder came, because it could light up Louisville. Tough shot by Jerome.
Well, Ty Jerome, he's trying to put some pressure on Snyder to make him defend, maybe pick up a foul, get him out of the game.
Mahmoud trying to set up a little pick and roll action. Dang, Adele not there. King up and over the back. It'll go the other way.
Well, we talked about the moment that maybe a shooter comes alive. This might be it for Quinn Snyder. They need his offense desperately. And then down the other end, Kyle Guy has been dialed in all afternoon long, and Ty Jerome finishes.
When you place an order online, enter code ACC5 at checkout for $5 off your order. Visit mellowmushroom.com/order.
I did better with my Etch-a-Sketch than I did on the app. Much better.
Oh, gosh. There's Trent Johnson, I think one of the great hires in college basketball by a young head coach to have, that kind of willingness to bring in a guy that's been a head coach and been successful. He won an SEC title at LSU, and of course a great coach at Stanford. Worked with Mike Montgomery. He and Greg Paulus, 2 quality pickups very late by David Paget.
We did that game, as a matter of fact, when he beat the Kentucky and Rupp Arena.
Final game of the regular season. Spoiled their senior day.
Yep.
Last time LSU was successful in the NCAA tournament.
It's just, you get that switch, and boy, Mahmoud did a nice job to cover up that drive by Kyle Guy.
I wonder when Snyder may start calling his own number from time to time. There's Mahmoud, the trailer. That's something you rarely see against Virginia.
Well, that's got to happen. When they double, they always double big on big. Now it's going to be incumbent on the weak side guard to step in and pick up that cut to the basket. But that was a beautiful read by Mahmoud.
Well, it looks like some of those adjustments that Jason Capel was talking about as we started the second half are beginning to take hold for Louisville. Hunter, count it, and a foul. That's what he delivers, Mike. An ability to put the ball on the deck and create something that Virginia, especially the cynics of Virginia, say they have little of.
Well, he's kind of a hybrid. You know, like you said, you play so many positions. You can put the ball on the floor. He's going to get better as a three-point shooter at 35%, 80% from the free throw line. Really solid offensive game on all three levels.
Look, we talked to Tony Bennett, and he just salivates about the strength of what DeAndre Hunter can bring to his team.
Plus, Tim, he was a redshirt freshman, so he had all of last year to get acclimated and then just hit the ground running this year.
B.J. King with another three. He's got 3 of them today. 11 for the afternoon in total, and it's 48-41. Things are heating up here in Brooklyn.
2 of them came early in the game. Good to see him to come back to life.
Devin Hall has been outstanding today. But like so many great Virginia players, he lets the game come to him, as does Kyle Guy. Here's the dump down to Hunter again. Isolated, and an ability to create. Shot clock at 4. Guy! That's why you give it up with 4. Kyle Guy has the stones to knock it down.
Well, and he just, and I thought Hunter could have picked up a foul on Adele that time. He had him up in the air, but that was a deep bomb by Guy.
Well, you talk about confidence in your guy. Pardon the pun. And there's a reach-in foul.
Oh, you don't pardon it.
That's your guy right there. Clock winding down. Give it to him.
Look, there's the opportunity up in the air, and those are the type of possessions that Virginia has that just breaks your heart. You know, Louisville played really sound defense for 28 seconds, and then a guy hits one from 30.
That's like a sword to the gut. 51-41. Lead back to 10.
Well, look at all the attention they're paying to Snyder.
Alley-oop for Mahmoud, just a little high from Quentin.
Yeah, they're right. When he's coming off the screen, they are staying with him and taking their chances.
One thing Virginia has done, they've allowed Snyder that one bucket. He's not gotten another look since. Just over 7 minutes gone by here in the second half.
Another matchup zone opportunity for Louisville. Worked well.
Diakite with the miss and Adele with a rebound. Spalding trying to set a pick. Now on the switch, Hunter's got Quentin Snyder. He's going to try to take him from downtown.
And a nice job by Hunter keeping in front. And he actually, Snyder waved Mahmoud off, who was going to set a screen. He thought he could take him off the drive.
He did. On the other end, Hunter drills it. The lead back up to 13.
You know, we saw 8 guys play for Virginia in the first half. I think Tony Bennett's really going to, maybe 6, maybe 7 guys in the second half, depending on the score. You know, I know they'd like to put this one away as quickly as possible.
Spalding gets loose in front of Diakite. Over to King for 3. Not this time, and Hunter pulls it down.
You know, I know it's tough. It's a 3, but that's about as good a look as you're going to get against this defense from the perimeter. You've got to knock that down. It's the pressure you put on yourself when you get an open look.
Hunter really is feeling it. Unlike the game at Louisville when he struggled, he's feeling it today. That ball taken off the deck by Mahmoud with quality blockout for Louisville.
He was the only one going on the offensive glass at that time. 3 white jerseys getting back. 4 white jerseys. There's that big double. You see, once they get him to pick up his dribble, they get out of it.
And a foul. Great opportunity for Deng Adele. He decided to take it right to the rim. Attack the 10 relentlessly. Hunter gets the foul. The lead is 13. It's the 2018 New York Life ACC Tournament quarterfinals. Happy to have you with us here on the ACC Network, where Virginia has come out lighting it up from 3. They're hard to beat when they're making these.
Yeah, 7 of 15 on the game so far, Tim, and they've spread the wealth around. 3 different players have knocked down threes, and what it's done is it's neutralized Louisville in that category. But really nice rhythm, nice offense, good mixture of inside and out.
See the numbers on Kyle Guy, and he's had some help to go with that. DeAndre Hunter coming into the game, playing a large role.
You look at those numbers, do quick math. He's 1 of 6 inside the arc. So, you do what you can to try to drive him off the line and have a mid-range game or try to make a play at the rim.
Well, once this is over, don't forget Boston College only won a couple of games in the league a year ago, and now look, Jerome Robinson and Marquise Reed, these are 2 guys to really keep an eye on for both the Tigers and the Eagles today.
Well, BC, I said yesterday, the second game isn't the tough one. Is the third game in 3 days going to catch up with them? And I think personally, Marquise Reed could have made an argument for first team All ACC.
Oh, you think? Absolutely.
I think he's the heart and soul of that Clemson team.
To do what they did without Dante Grantham after he got hurt, I think most people felt Clemson was dead and buried after that injury. Great coaching by Brownell, too.
I just held them together. Other guys stepped up. Gabe DeVoe had a run of
sure did.
3-point shooting.
Well, those 2 buckets at the free throw line, very important for Louisville. They cut it back to 11. Cardinals have not played poorly. Just Virginia's been warm. They got a big lead of 17 at one point. 36-19, and then later 38-21. Louisville made a mini run at the end of the first half, trying to do the same here in the second. There's a pick by Sutton. Looking for a little help against that pack line. Well, their hands are just everywhere. Nora comes in and gets a bucket. How about that? His three-pointer.
Just unexpected points help in a game like this.
And he brings you some additional size to go with it. And you've got some fouls to give in that front line when big number 33's in there. Hunter with a pop out. Has his pocket picked. Sutton does the job. And here's Snyder in the open floor. Dang Adele. Not there. Spalding. A flush.
Oh, I just read it beautifully. Tony Bennett wants to try to stop this run right now, but it's been on the defensive end of the floor that Louisville has picked it up, Tim.
How about this? Nora with the big-time 3 after Wilkins thought he had a steal. You'll take that, and then all of a sudden, if it doesn't fall, then you have a chance to follow. For once, there was no pack line in the way after this flush from Spalding. You are watching the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports, also streaming live now on the ACC.com and the official ACC mobile app. Just arriving on the bus elevator, Brad Brownell and his Clemson Tigers getting ready to take on Boston College. Jim Christian looks like he's got on a different shirt and pants tonight. And there's Jerome Robinson. So many outstanding talents that we'll see in game number 2.
You know, the thing is, though, Tim, with game 1 in the afternoon session and game 1 in the night session, you know when they're going to start.
That's right.
You can come out, you get some early shooting, but that second game, there's always that anxiety of wanting to get out on the floor. You're not sure exactly when the game is going to be over, so it's a little different type of preparation being that second game in each section.
As we come back live, 7-0 spurt for Louisville over 1 minute and 3 seconds as Virginia takes it right to the rack with Diakite to end that run, and it's 56-48. Diakite now has 6.
It just seems like, Spalding, a very good shot blocker in his own right, but it just seems like there's more space inside when Mahmoud is not on the floor.
Jamie Lucky spots a little something. A little push there going on. Push and pull between the 2 bigs. Diakite the foul.
Look, there's no help coming. You get plenty of time, and if anything, you on that side make him go over and turn to his left side rather than come back to his right.
Diakite and Spalding body on body. That's 2 fouls on Diakite. Spalding works up and over Diakite, and he picks up a 3rd. That's 2 fouls in less than 30 seconds on Diakite. And Tony Bennett with a look of disbelief.
You know, they come back with Jack Salt right now for a little bit. Tony's going through the math right now, and
he's like Jamie. I don't think so.
With 9 minutes to go, I think he's going to trust his guy. And if I'm Dave Padgett, keep on working on Spalding inside. I think what they're going to have to do now is definitely give him some double team support when he catches it on the post.
How many times do you and Tony really talk about those early days as the men of teal?
Well, neither one of us were playing a whole lot, so we had a lot of time to talk on the bench.
You were, 13 years in the league, I think, at that point.
And he was a rookie, so there weren't a lot of minutes around.
There's a steal, and what a pass out to Nora. Spalding with a beautiful assist. Just nudged that ball out, and Jordan Nora has come into the game and been a factor.
Well, and Spalding's got that ability. All these guys can bring it out of the back court and start a break, but for your big to be able to do that, pretty special.
It's very rare you can come from 17 down against this bunch. And Louisville now has cut it to 4. Nigel Johnson is fouled. Looks like Snyder got it.
Yeah, and he put it in a place where he hit him in stride, and that was the big key. And I think Diakite might have caught up with him. Was not that the case, but he got it out in front and he was able to finish.
You hear this story sometimes in football where a quarterback throws his receiver open. That time the pass threw Nora open.
Well, I like the fact, too, it was a bounce pass, Tim. Those are softer, they're easier to catch, and he could run up to it.
Guy working it to Hall.
Hall's been quiet.
Yes, he has.
Ever since that early flurry.
Diakite comes away with a loose ball and the finger roll.
And that's one Nora should have had. I mean, it was right in his hands, and those are the ones that are tough. You can't give easy points like that to Virginia, especially after an initial miss.
And that, after Diakite took a suspect shot, he stayed with it. Very typical Virginia stick-to-itiveness on display there. Spalding working on Diakite again. He's got 3. He's going to challenge him. Sutton, he goes crying off the front iron.
And they were letting a lot of contact go. Diakite was really fighting for Spalding, pushed him far enough off his spot that it made him pass the ball.
Hunter will come in on the next dead ball as Tourney has looked to his bench. Nice wraparound. And a bounce pass variety, too. Jerome to Diakite. He's got 10. Timeout. This is what we call throwing your guy open. Jordan Nora cut it down to 4. But here comes the answer. What a pass. We're back after this word from your local ACC station. Has been the home of the New York Life ACC tournament now for the last 2 years. And each year, New York Life has entertained fans. This year, they have a photo booth on the concourse that captures a moment from multiple angles and turns it into a short video file. Always a fun time. New York Life, start a plan that flexes with yours. Love that interactive stuff. 60-52 our score here with 7.5 remaining. Tim Brando, Mike Jaminski, Jason Capel. And a reminder, it's bow time, so let's check the Bojangles fan of the game.
and wearing a bow.
You gotta love that.
So there you go.
Oh gosh,
it is bow time.
You bet. Every time my daughter Tara puts a bow on Wilma Scarlett, she rips it off. She just takes it right off. Sometimes you got to get those wraparounds that go underneath the chin, like that one.
That's so played, Mom.
Yes, it did. Ooh, that one just off the front iron goes crying for Spalding. They cut it to 4. UVA answered, as they oftentimes do, and the lead is back up to 8. Oh, Spalding got in the passing lane, had a near pick. Shot clock down to 5. Jerome tries to get it done on his own. That's a... Wait a minute. Hang on. Are they going to say that he was out of bounds?
He was out of bounds. Teddy Valentine. But now they're going to see whether the
violation happened. It looked to have happened before the ball went out of bounds.
Well,
Let's see.
Yeah, they wanted to check to see if it was a shot clock violation. It hits the rim right there, it ticks it, and then he just falls out of bounds. So good call.
Yep.
Just barely ticked the iron.
What a break for Virginia. That makes it really hard on Louisville. You play that quality defense, and now you got to do it all over again.
See, that's what I said at the top about the second chance opportunities and having to play a potentially 30, a minute of defense against this team.
And Jerome makes good use of it. That was a good piece of officiating by our veteran crew there, because it was right up against the shot clock violation, but clearly the ball was out of bounds off Louisville. Here's Snyder. Everything but the finish. He has really struggled today. Only 3 points today.
Yeah, one of 6 shooting, one of 7 shooting on the afternoon, and it just makes it tough on the other guys. They don't really have anybody out on the floor that can pick up the scoring.
You can really see the size matchup with Jerome and Guy collaborating on Snyder. Makes it very difficult for the Ballard High School star. There's a runner. Devin Hall.
Yes, again, went left, strong hand, and then finish with the right, going back into the defender.
And the lead back up to 12. And a reach on Hall. Now check that, it's going to go against Hunter. Foul goes against Hunter, his third. Well, our coverage of ACC basketball is being broadcast on AFM, the American Forces Network. We welcome the nearly 1 million men and women of the U.S. Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and Marines stationed around the globe in 175 countries, as well as on the high seas. So proud to have you with us. Hope you're enjoying our quarterfinals this afternoon.
Well, the big thing is now that Louisville's in the one-on-one situation, so for them it would be incumbent to keep attacking the rim. You want to slow the game down, get to the free throw line as much as you can.
Bang Adele, one of the mismatches for so many teams. Tri-captain of the Cards knocks them both down. Lead is back to 10. Adele has 13.
You're successful at the line, especially in that second one. You can set up a little bit of pressure.
Perry now dogging Guy. Darius Perry just into the game. Hall, baseline blast. Just a beauty. Nora was late coming over for recovery. 14 in the game for Hall.
Well, what do we say to him? That he's been quiet for a while, and then all of a sudden a couple of quick baskets. Stretching the lead back out.
Perry trying to find Spalding. He was in no man's land. Tried to save it, but does to Jerome.
There's the discipline right there. They didn't have numbers on the break. Jerome taking a look around to see if there was an open cutter, but now they get into their set.
Guy working on Perry. They're going to get a foul on Perry with a reach in. Well, let's take a look here at our Jimmy John's freaky fast player. And this is some play. How about this move?
Yeah, just double clutch. You saw Spalding coming over there again, and I just sense that Virginia a little bit more drive oriented again with Mahmoud not in the game.
Perfect scenario for them to be up double digits with 4 and change remaining. They can move into the clock, never fearing that there's some concern about the clock and launching a shot. So many guys capable in these situations, like Ty Jerome. This time he doesn't get it to fall, and Adele brings it down.
That's going to be the huge key going down the stretch for Louisville, that defensive glass on the miss.
Almost a 5-minute drought. Snyder works free, rushed that shot. You could tell he rushed that shot.
Well, it's a combination of one, he knows he's having a bad afternoon. He wants to get his team back. And 2, he had a decent look, and those don't come along a lot against this very, very stout defensive team for Virginia.
Cavaliers wanted to make a point.
You know, it's amazing, Tim. The Cavalier fans appreciate the defensive end of the floor as much as they do the offensive end of the floor.
I love that. When you go to John Paul Jones Arena, they do a countdown on the defensive end, whereas in most places you'd always hear the countdown when your team had the ball.
Just an ill-advised pass that time to Spalding running up the floor. Dagadell knows it.
Yep. Well, Virginia getting the job done, in control, looking like the #1 team that they are. Let's take a look, Mike, at the play of the game driven by Continental Tire.
Yeah, this is a snapshot, really, of Virginia basketball. Look where Kyle Guy starts. The drive was an errant pass out, but he tracks it down. Hall makes the play in the middle. You see the defense step up. You've got two guys in no man's land right there. Mahmoud has to come over, and then Salt's just left with an easy finish inside. Just beautiful basketball.
That's what sharing is all about in this great game. And it's vintage Virginia. The balance of this team, too, is on display. Look at that. You got 4 guys in double figures, and I
thought they were close.
Yeah,
they may have 6
right
at the end of the game.
I thought when DeAndre Hunter came in the game, G-Man, it was at a point when Louisville was challenging, and Hunter's ability to put the ball on the deck and make some individual plays when other play opportunities were breaking down was so typical of what Tony Bennett was telling us is the difference in him. He believes that DeAndre Hunter may be the X factor in the difference between his team not making it to the Final Four and possibly getting there this year.
But that graphic, Tim, it shows you why it's difficult in a lot of ways to pick a first-team All-ACC player with that balance. And a lot of voters sometimes just look at the scoring.
There's a steal by Nwora, and he misses the jam. Spalding there to follow. He challenges the rack. He can't get it to go, and Wilkins clears.
Boy, how about Diakite, the initial play, and then Wilkins, just the two of them back, and they, by themselves, stopped 2 opportunities.
Padgett's really upset, and he's letting Valentine know that he felt Nwora was fouled on that first one.
Yeah, I think he probably had a pretty good argument as well. But Nwora has come in and given Dave Padgett minutes.
Yeah, and Guy gets 1 plus another. Count it, and a foul. And that's what makes coaches so angry when they believe on a run out, their guy got hacked. And then right here, the bump initiated by Guy, it's a foul.
Usually when you lower your shoulder like that, Tim, you get an offensive foul call.
You do. Absolutely no doubt about it. And David just telling his guys to play through it, it'll be all right. Sometimes you just have to look at it that way. I believe yesterday Louisville clinched an at-large bid with that win against Florida State. The committee has to know the incredible circumstances they had in that loss on senior night. How bizarre, what a Twilight Zone moment that was. Their body of work this year should be good enough. And you see 0 for 6 the last 620.
And there were, the sad thing and the reality of it is, Tim, that they could have sewn it up with that win against Virginia that last game. They've done that in the regular season, not even having this conversation.
Yeah, it would have been a stress-free trip to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I mean, and the after effects of that game played in with their matchup at North Carolina State right after that.
Well, I'm talking to Virginia, or talking to the Louisville people. They're going to sit down after the season and discuss. I think both of us are on the same page as far as that Dave Padgett that he has earned at least another year or 2.
No question.
To see where that take the program in a different direction.
Here's the issue that they have. First, they got to hire an athletic director. I'm told that won't happen until March. And more than likely, a new president won't be in there until July. So in the interim, you got to do something, and to recruit, you got to have a staff.
You got to have late recruiting, and it's so there are dominoes that have to fall before that decision is made.
Well, think about this from a Louisville perspective. Kevin Stallings just got fired with a $10 million buyout upon leaving here and going back to Pittsburgh. So that's a job opening. If in fact Louisville wants to make a move right now to make sure that the immediate future is okay with a staff like this and a coach that cares as much as this one does, you might be better served at least until you have an administration intact.
I would, if I were Kevin Stallings, I'd be heading to Aruba with that $10 million instead of back to Pittsburgh.
The world we live in, right? Looks like they're going to review this last play. The lead is up to 13 with 1:59 remaining. But listen, that's one of the great debates in intercollegiate athletics that we have going on right now. And many have said, even Coach K have said, it's broken and we need to fix it. And an example of that, as you see, we're checking to see who it went out on after the 2-minute mark. We have that rule in play.
And it looked like it went off Virginia.
Yeah.
I'm going to, coming over the back.
Yeah,
it looked like Wilkins was the last one to kind of poke it out.
And it was actually deflected off of Spalding onto Wilkins' hand. So it'll stay on this end of the floor. Well, our Chevrolet Performance Player of the Game is Kyle Guy, 6 of 13 from the floor, 17 points.
Yeah, and again, Tim, it just comes down. It could have been Jerome. I mean, Wilkins only 7 points, but a huge factor in the game. Diakite, he gives you 10 points.
Jason, your thoughts?
Well, the strength of Virginia is their team, not just one single guy. But you look at Kyle Guy, no pun intended, his ability to make shots makes them so dangerous. We understand how good their defense is. They score the ball well in the paint. But when the Cavaliers are making three-point shots, they're almost unbeatable. And Kyle Guy has knocked down 4 on the afternoon.
Yes, he has. And they're just workmanlike, the combination of he and Jerome.
Yeah, Darius Perry picking up the foul. Then Padgett upset. He wanted, he just wanted a turnover on the play.
One and a bonus coming here for Guy.
Rare miss for him at 86%. But this Virginia team, if it gets to 70 points,
forget about it.
It's very, very difficult to beat them.
You're right. And they were so efficient offensively today. That was not the case in the game we had at Louisville. They struggled from the perimeter all evening long. Hunter, he's fouled. Redshirt freshman from Philadelphia, Friends Central. It's going to be a real key for this team. Fought through a rolled ankle that he had right before that game at Louisville too. It might have impacted his performance in that game. He's completely healthy today, though.
You hate to say it, but he may be a guy that they may have a tough time keeping around for 4 years.
That's true. You're right. Well, what Tom and Corey have coming up between games at the break, presented by Principal. Stats, highlights, analysis, a lot of time to preview our next game coming up between Clemson and Boston College.
Well, I tell you one guy you're not going to have to worry about BC with the 3 games in 3 nights is Mr. Bowman.
Yeah.
And that motor is going to be in 5th gear.
By the way, Hunter with that free throw became the 5th Cavalier to get into double figures. 10 points for him off the bench. They can play keep away now.
And Dave Padgett waving off the foul, so they're just going to run out the clock.
And live to fight another day in the NCAAs for Louisville. Hunter! Oh! A jackknife slam to make it 73-56. Hammer time.
What did I say about having a tough time keeping him around for 40 years?
Pretty explosive talent.
Goodness.
Pretty explosive talent. Guy. He gets to slam one home. Score not indicative of how competitive it was. Early on, there's McMahon trying a 3 and it's aired out. But listen, I do believe Louisville's got a future after Selection Sunday, and we wish David Padgett all the best. They got some great fans in Louisville, and they deserve an opportunity in the NCAA.
Yeah, and it'd be a great story, but there are going to be a lot of anxious moments as those names are turned over.
Absolutely. Tony Bennett's club marches on. Is there any doubt they're number 1?
No.
I mean, there is no doubt in my mind.
But you look at them, Tim. I mean, we get so blown away by the talent and the size and athleticism. The eye test, you look at Virginia, you just go. But then you watch them play, and that's when you understand how great a team they are and why they deserve that rank. This is a team that was picked 6th preseason by the ACC and media, and they were even in the top 25 nationally.
There's an old saying in team sports, G-Man, the greater part of me is we. And I think you're so accurate about UVA. But I think this time the difference is not only in Kai and Guy and Hall, do you have the abilities along with Jerome to knock down shots, but DeAndre Hunter gives them that athletic wing player that in past years they haven't had, and they've been stopped short of the Final Four.